Why do we keep on losing? Right at the end of our surreal performance against Bayern Munich, I've made the decision not to make a traditional tactical analysis video as you are used to here on the Scarlet Report, because I thought that would be intellectual dishonesty on my part. And the reason for that is simply because at this point, I don't think that you can change the manager or change any of the players and get better results. Basically, you can have the best seeds in the world, the best manager, the best players. But if you plant them in toxic soil, they are never gonna grow into fruit-bearing trees. And so what is the problem? Well, Ralf Rangnick may have put the finger on it. When I first started this channel, I made a video right after Ralf Rangnick's appointment on how he hired Sasha Lenz as a psychologist at Manchester United. But what shocked me the most, what baffled me, was not the fact that Ralf Rangnick, a man known for building clubs, not just teams, values the mental side of football, but how Manchester United, as an institution competing in a highly competitive industry, never thought about prioritizing the mental health of their players. And I think that this can be an indication of what the real problem at Manchester United is, because these Manchester United players are beaten before they even step on the pitch. And to further understand this even better, let's look at one of the best movies of all time, Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. A Clockwork Orange is about Alex, an anarchist young man from a near-futuristic society, spends his day assaulting people, raping people, destroying property, until the government one day gets hold of him. And they decide to cure him by conducting an experiment on him. Basically, they attached him to a chair, forcibly opened his eyelids, forced him to watch violent footage. But what made it even more cruel is that they played his favorite piece of music, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, while they were showing him those violent images. And what this did is that it turned him into an empty shell. It turned him into a vegetable, a walking vegetable. Because every time he heard that piece of music, he just had a PTSD type of crisis, and he felt intense pain, nauseous, because he thought of all of those violent images that the government showed him in that experiment. Basically, he was under the boot of the government, devoid of free will, devoid of free choice, devoid of personality. Basically, the government took away his humanity. He was nothing, just an empty shell. And why do I keep thinking about Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange? You should watch this movie. It's amazing, by the way. Every time I'm watching Manchester United, especially against Bayern Munich, is because Manchester United is Alex. We are Alex. For the past few decades, we were destroying everyone. So, of course, within what's legal. Every team feared us, and every team wanted to be us. We were the benchmark in club football. And then Sir Alex Ferguson retired. We entered our experiment stage. We tried to go different ways with different managers. We didn't get our recruitment right. The standards in and around the club have dropped. It was, of course, the age of social media. So with every defeat, all of those enemies that we've made in the past, they came back. Our chickens have come home to roost. There was more banter online about Manchester United, more trolling, more negativity. Until now, we are having PTSD moments every time we hear the symphony, which in our case is, of course, conceding a goal. Every time we concede a goal and we are not expecting it against the run of play, our players simply crumble. This is a reality that we cannot go around. And I know many of you are going to tell me, hey, Mr. Scarlet Report, maybe you are overanalyzing this. Football is an easy game. Just run, tackle, play with passion, play with heart, win the ball, and just shoot at the damn goal. But it's not that simple. It's not that simple. And I know that a lot of you don't have a lot of sympathy for these players because, you know, they are rich, they are millionaires. They have power and fame and glamour, and they get to live the dream playing a game and making a living out of it. And what a living that is. But I don't think that being wealthy protects you from mental illness. If anything, I think that it makes you more vulnerable to mental illness. And we have to talk about this. How come that any player that comes to Manchester United automatically drops in level and drops their standards? Jadon Sancho, let's talk about him, okay? At Dortmund, he was a star, an amazing player. His last 2 seasons in Dortmund, he was amazing. Amazing. Comes to Manchester United, well now, Erik ten Hag is having an open war with him because apparently he doesn't train hard enough. Why? What happened? Would that have happened had Sancho went to Liverpool or Manchester City or Real Madrid? No, he would have kept going on an upward trajectory. What is it? Is it because those managers are better than Erik ten Hag? No. What is it in Manchester United? What is that toxic soil? That means that a beautiful seed like Dortmund's Jadon Sancho comes to Manchester United and grows into, spiky, dry bush, instead of a fruit-bearing tree. Which brings me, of course, to Andre Onana. Everybody in Twitter for the past few days, just ranting on about Onana because everyone just looks at the surface. Onana is not the cause of the defeats that we've had against Bayern and Arsenal and Spurs. He's a symptom. He's a symptom of a sick, ailing Manchester United. People forget that this guy has been in the Champions League semi-final with Ajax. That he's been to the Champions League final with Inter Milan in his first season. He's the top goalkeeper, and everyone who watches other leagues than just the Premier League knows how good he is. So what happened? And I don't want to ramble on with David De Gea. People just posting pictures of David De Gea and saying, "Hey guys, do you remember me?" Yeah, shut up. Shut up. David De Gea is in the past. And David De Gea, a change had to happen at Manchester United because of tactical reasons. And I personally love David De Gea, not only because of his professionalism, but of course, as you can see from the pictures behind me, I'm into rock music, and so is David De Gea. Him and I have so much in common. I have no reason to hate David De Gea. But tactically, we had to make a choice. We had to move in the direction that the manager wanted to move in, having a goalkeeper who can play from the back. But in none of my videos have I ever talked about David De Gea costing us games. How about him costing us in the FA Cup in his last game? How about all the howlers that he's done? I remember one against Everton. You remember a howler in David Moyes' first season against Sunderland in the League Cup. Because of that, we did not go through. A howler against Barcelona in the knockout stages under Ole. The Villarreal final in the Europa League. Didn't save a penalty and then missed the actual penalty that gave the trophy to Villarreal. And yet, I don't think that in any of these moments it would be fair for me to say that that was because of David De Gea, because it's never on one man. Just as it's not fair to point the finger at Andre Onana. Every Manchester United player right now is underperforming, and so is Andre Onana. He is performing the way his environment dictates he performs. He is a victim, just like his teammates, of a Manchester United team that is extremely weak, a highly dysfunctional institution and organization. That's what Manchester United is. And unless we fix that, we are never going to win anything of value. And I think that Erik ten Hag last season, just like Jose Mourinho when he finished second, I think they overachieved. I think that Erik ten Hag last year squeezed everything there is out of these players. But there are deeply rooted problems that we have to fix in order for us to move forward. And we are never going to be able to compete with Liverpool and Manchester City and on the continental stage with the likes of Real Madrid or Paris Saint-Germain or Bayern Munich unless we fix this. And I think that Ralf Rangnick was right in appointing a psychologist. How come we don't have a psychology department at Manchester United? We don't. We have a guy called Rainer Kors, I think. That's how you read his name. He was appointed by Erik ten Hag, but he's more of a motivational speaker. He's more of a life coach. Okay, it's good, but he should be part of a much bigger team. Our players need people they can trust, people they can go and talk to. Why is Rashford now acting the way he is? Listen, Rashford is not a bad guy. He's actually a very good role model. He's actually very good off the pitch. And on the pitch, when the mojo is right, he is an amazing player. So what is happening? Casemiro looks kind of disinterested with what's happening. Lisandro Martinez has lost that fight that he showed, that grinta that he showed last season. What is happening? What happens to these players? Is there like a virus that just contaminates them? What's going on? And I cannot answer that. You cannot answer that. It has to be someone who is within the club, someone who sees these players and talks to them every day. Unless we change that, we are never ever going to be able to win. We can talk about tactics, talk about transfers, all we want. You can substitute Erik ten Hag today with Roberto De Zerbi or Pep Guardiola, and they are not going to get better results than he's getting. You can substitute our squad with other players. Your favorite center back, bring him in. Favorite center forward, bring Haaland right now. Play him and Højlund together up front and see what you get. Nothing. You're gonna get nothing at all. Because the club is sick. There's nothing that's gonna come out of it unless we fix the mental sickness that we have. We have to stop being like Alex from A Clockwork Orange. We have to become lions again. And we can't just say, okay, the players have to try harder. Come on, guys, play with fighting spirit. Play like Roy Keane. Yeah, that's just empty talk. What is it that the club is actually doing to really support these players? Why is it that Manchester United is the only club in the world where this is an issue? Where we crumble? I mean, look at it just last season. The signs were clear. How can you beat Manchester City and Liverpool at home, but completely crumble against them? Why did we down tools against Sevilla in the Europa League? Do you remember that loss against Aston Villa in Unai Emery's first game in charge? How about that Brentford defeat? 4 goals in the first half. That's not an ability issue. It's not that those players are that much better than the Manchester United players. That's why we finished 3rd in the league with a trophy and a final. That's a very good season considering the competition. So those teams are not really that better than us. But we crumbled 7-0 against a Liverpool team that didn't even make it to the top 4. What happened? What happened? It was here. Right here in the head, guys. And the club has to work towards fixing this. We need to have a psychology department. We need to provide the players with this kind of support. Otherwise, we're never ever gonna win again. So guys, what do you think about this? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. I also want to say that I did post a Brighton analysis, but it was taken away. It was taken off the platform by YouTube after a complaint from the Premier League. So don't worry, I'm still going to be making those videos later on. But anyway, the Brighton video was on the platform for about 18 hours before it was taken away. So I'm sorry if you guys could not see it, but stay tuned for the next one. But tell me, what do you think about my take on this video in the comment section below? Until next time, cheers.